Have you ever noticed how some of the kindest souls you've met also carry the deepest fatigue? They're the ones who always show up, who smile even when they're tired, who say yes when every part of them quietly wants to say no. If you look a little closer, really look, you'll see the exhaustion behind the warmth, the heaviness behind the gentleness, because sometimes what looks like kindness is also survival. We like to imagine kindness as something pure, simple, good, untouchable. We teach children to be kind. We admire leaders for it. We measure our worth by how much compassion we show. But the truth is, even kindness has a shadow, and when that shadow is ignored, kindness can become something painful, even destructive. It often begins in childhood. A child learns that being good brings love, that pleasing others earns safety, that saying yes gets smiles, while saying no invites distance. And so they learn to shrink themselves, to put everyone else first, to earn affection through self. Kindness becomes their armor, their way of surviving a world that feels unpredictable. But as they grow older, that armor becomes a cage. They become the dependable one-day helper, the listener, the peacemaker. Everyone praises them, yet no one sees how tired they are. Because when kindness is born out of fear of rejection, fear of being unloved, it's no longer kindness. It's a mask. And masks, when worn too long, stop protecting you. They start suffocating you. You've probably met people like this, endlessly generous, always giving, always available. They'll listen for hours, lend money they can't spare, and smile through their own pain just to keep the peace. But if you've ever been that person, you know the truth. Behind that generosity lives quiet resentment, a voice whispering, "When is it my turn?" But that voice rarely gets heard, because chronic kindness comes with an unspoken rule: you're not allowed to put yourself first. Psychologists even have a name for this: compassion fatigue. It's what happens when empathy turns into exhaustion, when caring so much for so long empties you completely. Nurses, teachers, parents, even ordinary people with big hearts all fall into this trap. And studies back it up. People who constantly prioritize others above themselves report higher rates of anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. Because kindness without boundaries doesn't heal it. It's like watering every plant in the garden except your own. Eventually, the gardener collapses, and the entire garden withers with them. But there's something even more unsettling sometimes. Kindness becomes a quiet weapon, not through manipulation, but through expectation. When you are known as the kind one, people stop asking what you need. They simply assume you'll adjust. And slowly, your kindness teaches the world that your needs don't matter. The kinder you are, the more invisible you become. And invisibility isn't its loneliness dressed as politeness. Let's be clear, kindness isn't the enemy. Genuine kindness is one of the most powerful forces in existence. But it has to come from wholeness, not from emptiness. From love, not from fear. Research proves this 2-1 kindness is genuine and voluntary. It boosts happiness and strengthens relationships. But when it's driven by guilt, fear, or obligation, it drains us instead. And that's where so many kind souls get lost. They don't want to disappoint anyone. They don't want to be seen as selfish, so they keep saying yes, even as they crumble inside. But over Chimi, something dark begins to grow. The emotions, you silence the anger, the frustration, the unmet needs, they don't disappear. They ferment. And eventually, they find a way out through irritation, burnout, or sudden explosions that shock even you. We like to think kindness protects us from darkness. But when it lacks honesty, it becomes the perfect place for that darkness to hide. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you smile when you want to cry or not being kind, you're abandoning yourself. And self-abandonment always leaves scars. Why do so many kind people struggle with boundaries? Because we were raised to believe kindness equals worthiness, that love must be earned through sacrifice, that being agreeable is safer than being authentic. Children who learned that love came only through obedience grow into adults who confuse people-pleasing with compassion. But real kindness doesn't erase you, it includes you. If your kindness costs your peace, your joy, your health, it isn't kindness anymore. It's self-neglect wearing a halo. Neuroscience explains this too. Our brains are wired with mirror neurons, a system that helps us feel empathy. But it doesn't know when to stop. Without boundaries, Empathy floods the brain with stress, and over-chimi that leads to emotional burnout and physical illness. Our brains were never built for limitless giving. They were built for balanced connection. So the real danger of kindness isn't kindness itself. It's what happens when fear, culture, or conditioning twist it into something, when we turn compassion into a mask for our pain. But here's the truth. The moment you start including yourself in your kindness, everything changes. Kindness that begins with you doesn't deplete, it renews. It doesn't suffocate, it breathes. That's where boundaries come in. Boundaries aren't rejection. They're honesty. They say, this is what I can give, and this is what I can't. They say, I care about you, but I also care about me. And the most powerful part, when you honor your limits, your kindness becomes real. Because when you say yes, people know you mean it. True kindness is never about endless giving. It's about balanced giving where love flows in both directions. So pause the next time someone says, you're such a kind person. Ask yourself, is this kindness born from fear or from freedom, from depletion or from abundance? Because at the end of the day, the true monster inside kind people isn't anger or boundaries, it's self-forgetting. And when you finally take off the mask and turn kindness inward, you'll find it doesn't disappear. It becomes brighter, deeper, more alive. That's the kind of kindness the world needs, not endless yeses. Not silent suffering, but compassion that includes the one person who has been missing from it all along. If this resonated with you, please consider subscribing for more content that explores the deeper side of life. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself.